We welcome you to Week 7 action here of the 2018 IHSA football season. I'm Ryan Fay with you for our HETV Game of the Week, as this week we bring you to Barrington High School, the home of the Broncos, as the 3-3 Broncos welcome in the unbeaten Hawks of Hoffman Estates. Now, both teams coming off of a couple of interesting Week 6s respectively. For the Broncos, they're coming off of a shutout loss to the Front Vikings by a score of 14-0. That's the first time in 9 seasons that the Broncos have been shut out in a game. While meanwhile, for the Hoffman Estates Hawks, they're coming off of an incredible rally they had against the Palatine Pirates last week. So it's 6-0 versus 3-3 here at Barrington High School this week. It's a pivotal matchup here in the Mid-Suburban West Conference battle between the Hawks and the Broncos, and kickoff is coming away next on our HETV Game of the Week. About to get set for kickoff here at Barrington High School as both teams taking the field. Now pleased to be joined by John Anderson up here in the booth, as the Hawks will be kicking this one off right to left in their road white jerseys, orange pants, and the blue helmets. And the Barrington Broncos in their home black uniforms, black jerseys, black pants, black helmets, and the white numbers to correlate. And John, a rarity for Barrington being shut out last week against the Vikings. First time in 9 seasons that's happened for Barrington.
Well, especially the last few years, Barrington has been an offensive powerhouse, and they started out pretty strong on offense this year, but have had a big drop-off the last 3 games.
As kickoff from the Hawks and the Broncos as we get play underway. David Hudson, number 1, with the return pass, the 30 to the near side, stays on his feet after breaking a tackle, getting to the outside the numbers, takes a big hit though towards the 40. A nice kickoff there for Barrington, and here comes Tommy Fitzpatrick and the Broncos, who, mentioning them, lost to Front 14-0. And John, when Joe Sanchez was asked about it after the game, saying, quote, "We made a few more mistakes with some costly turnovers, just couldn't string some plays together," and you can't do that against this Hawks team on defenses that's unbeaten at 6-0.
Yeah, Hoffman Estates has had the best, probably the best defense in the conference this year, and we saw them just a couple of weeks ago when they beat Schaumburg 14-0, and Barrington has to start to execute better on offense. They just really have had a drop-off on offense the last few games here of the season, the last 3. And the first 3 games of the season, they had a lot of offense.
Right, and everything's kind of changed a bit ever since that victory on the road at Maine South. First play there from Fitzpatrick was a run for 4. And this one will be a run up the middle, and the Broncos will get a first down. And taking that one into Hawks territory is Mike Curran, the running back, for a new set of downs for Barrington, and a much-needed good start, John, as you were referring to, for this Barrington offense that really hasn't done that much here over the last couple of weeks in conference play.
Yeah, it's the passing game is not clicking that well at all, and so the execution there all around, it gets down to the receivers, the offensive line, everything.
As Curran on another first run.
There's a good run right there. Yeah.
That's a gain of 13 for Curran, the running back. The senior gives the Broncos yet another first down as they charge deeper into Hoffman territory. And for the Hoffman Estates Hawks, what a rally they had last week against Palatine. A Palatine team coming into action last week, not really having much of a shot from the outsiders looking into it against that Hawks team, but Hawks were down by as much as 19, and we'll mention more of that in a moment, as on the key, Fitzpatrick gets swallowed up in the backfield for a loss of a few, as it's 2nd and long. But you have to give credit, though, to that Hawks team, John, that was able to find the resilience and able to kind of keep the composure and rally for that one to get the come-from-behind win against the Pirates.
They did have quite a come-from-behind win. The real enigma, though, is why did they get so far behind with their defense? It was out of character by a wide margin, but they did rally. Their offense has been good this season, too, and their offense really stepped it up and put 47 points on the board and won that game for them. 47-44, and the 44 points was by far the most of any opponent of Hoffman Estates. They allowed 21 in their first game. I believe that was an overtime game.
Yep.
And outside of that, they had a shutout and then some single digits, and a 42-14 game against Glenbrook North. So they really haven't allowed many points.
Is on this 3rd and 14. Fitzpatrick met in the backfield. Femi Ogini bringing him down, and he has been a tear on this defensive line for the Hawks this season. Mentioned a couple weeks ago, had a team-high 12 tackles in the victory against Schaumburg.
Hoffman has allowed only 15.3 points per game this year, and Barrington is not far behind. The Barrington defense is playing pretty well, 17.3.
Malik Whitehead back deep now for this 4th down for the Hawks to punt it. So after a quick couple first downs for Barrington, the Hawks are able to stand tall defensively. And this punt,
a punt that's squibbed off to the right, very short, or a shank almost, and
it doesn't take much of a bounce either. That one's going to fall flat right at the 31-yard line, and
right about just a little beyond the, just maybe about a 10-yard punt or so, something like that.
So here comes Kyle Krogstad in the Hawks offense. Krogstad, one of the better quarterbacks rather around the conference. He in that game in the rally come from behind against Palatine. He went 26 of 40 for 275 on in the game last week, and this is a team that has a lot of weapons offensively, and especially we mentioned Malik Whitehead was back deep to return that punt that he didn't even get a hand on, but you got to keep an eye on number 20 in White, that is for sure.
I believe he's the leading receiver, I'm sure, in the conference. There's Rolling Meadows has a couple of receivers that are way up there too.
Has a quick toss to the left side there for Matt Montgomery, number 6, the tailback at the left tip there. That's a gain of about 5 or 6 on that one. Should be about 5 as the ball's at the 36. Just underway here at Barrington High School. Moved up kickoff time to 6 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone due to some impending storms hitting the area later tonight. So they want to get this game in without much storm action affecting much of the contest, as it looks like Barrington may have jumped off sides there. Looks like that was Lucas Van Ness, number 90, the junior defensive lineman, 6'5", 215 pounds. So that pushes the Hawks up for 5 more yards, and that will be enough for a first down. So one quick toss to the left on a pass to Montgomery, and a offsides call puts Hoffman with their first down offensively here tonight. Ball at the 41. 3 receivers out right, 1 to the left. Ball at the near left hash. As the snap will go to Montgomery once again, who gets ahead of the 45 and taken down. As getting the tackle on that one was Van Ness, number 90. So a gain of about 5 on that one as well. Just under 8.5 to play here in this first quarter of Week 7 action here in the Mid-Suburban West Conference for our HETV game of the week here at Barrington High School. Same formation once again, as Montgomery's going to get the carry again as he tries to get towards midfield, but he is stopped by a sea of black jerseys in front of him ahead of the tackle box, and it'll bring up a 3rd down for Hoffman Estates. Bringing him down there on the initial stop for Barrington was number 49, Matt Reddy, the junior 6'4" defensive lineman. So it'll be about 3rd down and 3 to go. Need to get to the Barrington 49 to convert this 3rd down. Once again, same formation, 3 receivers out right, 1 left. Montgomery in the backfield with Krogstad. And this one is going to be a quick throw over the middle. Pass is off the fingertips there of the Barrington secondary. Pass falls incomplete. As in coverage there for Barrington, that looked like that was number 23 in Lucas Kozlowski. And that brings up 4th down. And the offense staying out there once again to go for it here on 4th down.
A lot of confidence in their offense. They're right around the 50.
And noticing Krogstad taking a few steps back, he is going to punt it after all.
Punts, yeah.
And a smart move there, and this one is going to take a Hoffman Estates bounce inside the 15-yard line, inside the 10 rather. And Hoffman's just going to let that one roll. And Barrington will start deep in its own territory. Conditions tonight, it's going to be a cool night, going to be a misty-like weather here at Barrington High School tonight. Again, I mentioned some storms impending the area later tonight. We're hoping we get this game before that happens, hence the move up to a 6 o'clock kickoff time. A lot of games in the area tonight have done that same thing or have postponed for that matter. Probably a smart move on that end just to not let the weather affect how teams' performance would go, especially as we're this late into the regular season. Hoffman Estates have clinched a playoff spot already. Barrington, not a guarantee just yet, as this one over the middle from Fitzpatrick is caught up the middle, and for a first down and a whole lot more. Ball comes out, and the Hawks are going to fall on top of it initially. We'll see how the officials spot it, though, and who got it. Hoffman thinks they have it, and they do.
Had the ball stripped from him right after he started running with it. And
that was Michael Bedard on the catch and run, and that one just ripped out from behind. It was a nice play there that the Hawks defense, they are on the prowl. They've been like that all season. And just like that, they have their second drive here of the night, starting this one in Broncos territory.
And we'll see Whitehead go back into action. And just looking at the stats here, he is the leading receiver in the whole Northwest Herald area. That's this conference plus about 5 other conferences. So quite a receiver. He's got 474 yards, 41 catches this year.
Needless to say, a big target for Hoffman Estates and Kyle Krogstad at the helmet quarterback as he takes the snap. He's going to fake the throw. He's going to hold and roll to his right. He's still looking downfield, and he gets pressured out of bounds for a gain of a couple on the run. That was Kevin Meckert to chase him out to the far side to bring up second down. And in talking about this, Kyle Krogstad mentioned how, quote, every coach on this staff stressed the little things during the offseason, and that's one of the big things as to how this Hawks program has turned things around over the last couple of seasons. As if you go from a stretch back from 2001 to 2016, they had never won more than 4 games in a season and had 6 0-9 campaigns in that stretch. So second down and 7. It was a run of 3 yards for Krogstad as he takes the snap. He's got time. He's going to air it downfield to the end zone, and it is picked off in the end zone.
Come out to the 20.
That was Lucas Kozlowski on the INT.
Not many INTs for Krogstad this year. That appears to be his 4th interception of the season. He leads the whole Northwest Herald area, the greater area, in touchdown passes. He's got 19. So, and that puts him ahead of Justice of Hersey with 15. So he's the leader in that department, but in that case, got picked off in the end zone.
So a rare error from Krogstad, throwing in double coverage as the Broncos try to get some confidence back here, as that run there to Curran is a gain of maybe a couple for second down.
Yeah, he was going for number 20, but Barrington showed us some defense there.
And when you look towards Malik Whitehead, you're going to probably most likely see double coverage on number 20, especially the way he has been performing here in 2018. 2 receivers out right for Fitzpatrick as he is going to, on the option, toss it to the left for Curran. He's got a couple blockers downfield, and there he goes. He gets past midfield into Hoffman Estates territory for a big run on second down, and it's a Broncos first down.
Barrington offense finding some running room here in the early going. And it's Curran. He's been the workhorse for Barrington this year. Coming into this game, he was had 84 carries, which leads Barrington. Fitzpatrick carries the ball a fair amount. He had 65 coming into the game.
Ball on the far hash at the 41-yard line. Big run there from Michael Curran for the Broncos. Blitz comes in, ball comes out again, and the Hawks fall on top of it. It looks like initially, we'll see how the refs spot it. It looks like they're gonna say Barrington did maybe fall on top of it in the end. There was a Hawks lineman that did look like they had the initial hand on the football, but another scare here for Barrington on offense trying to hold on to the football.
Well, this is game 7, and last year we had Hoffman come in here 6-0. And go down. It was about a 47, I think it was 47 to 21.
Yep, you are correct on that one.
unexpectedly one-sided in favor of Barrington, and so.
Well, this is a different Barrington team this time around, especially on the offensive side of the ball. As this one a throw to the right and taking a slip there, it appeared, as Darlington, who's the intended receiver. Again, could be a little slick on that turf tonight with the misty conditions out on the field. You can see a lot of the black turf pebbles, you know, kind of surface towards the top.
This is a Barrington team. When they played well, they really played well. They beat a Maine South team, which is ranked right near the top of 8A and statewide. They also beat Warren. And I was researching Warren a little bit. I'll pass those numbers along in a second here. We see 3rd and long right now.
One receiver out to each side, ball at the 44. Fitzpatrick off the fake is going to air it downfield to the right side. He's looking for Darlington again. And one-on-one coverage, the ball falls incomplete. In coverage was Brian Smith, the sophomore, and it's 4th down for Barrington.
Good coverage by Hoffman on that one.
So the punting unit will come on out. Whitehead back deep for Hoffman Estates. And just to your point there a moment ago about Warren, the Broncos defeated Warren 31-14 in that opener back on August 24th.
That was a very impressive game. I looked at the stats on that game. They held Warren to something like 110 yards total offense. So
kind of weird to see them still even put up 14, only having that much yardage.
And we'll see the punt here, but
as first punt wasn't as good, as it only went about 10 yards.
Punt. This looks like an excellent punt. It comes down at about the 3-yard line.
Yeah, a lot of hang time on that one, and Whitehead calls for that fair catch, so the Hawks now going to have to work deep out of their own territory.
Should have stepped aside and let that one go in the end zone, but
that was,
you know.
You kind of took the words out of my mouth there. I was about to ask you, is like, you know, from the veteran, you would have thought he maybe just said, hey, you know, nobody on my side touch it, let it bounce where it may.
Yeah. Here's some information on Warren, what they've done since Barrington beat them on the scoreboard and statistically very bad.
Right.
They have since won 5 straight games. They've had 4 shutouts against opponents.
Wow.
4 shutouts. They've only allowed 10 points in one game. 2-point-a-game average score after Barrington put 31 on them.
A little opening jitters for Warren to kind of settle into that season.
So,
as Crockstead over the middle, he was looking right there for Whitehead, but it's short and falls incomplete for 2nd down.
So this Barrington team that we see out here has beaten a Warren team. They're in the top 25 in all the metropolitan polls right now for Sun-Times, Trib, Herald, and Maine South is second or third, and or I think about 4th in the 8A poll statewide, and they're up there about 5th or so in the metropolitan polls.
As Crockstead here on 2nd down, he almost got some touch in the end zone. He gets taken down for a sack, though, right at about the 1-yard line, as that was number 37 on the run there, Mark Diorio, to bring him down for a 3rd and long, right at the goal line almost.
So this is a Barrington team that had 2 signature wins in its first among its first 3, and then largely because of offense, and their defense slipped a little bit too, but their offense the last 3 games has been 13 points, 12 points, and 0 points. But we've seen some offense from them tonight, both passing and running, so perhaps some hard work and practice might pay off for tonight.
3rd and 12 from the 1. Crockstead working in his own end zone. He just is going to hand it up, and being met immediately right just ahead of the line of scrimmage there was Matt Montgomery. So a good stop from this Barrington defense after a very nice punt setup from Will Hutchinson for the Broncos, and it forces a 4th down for Hoffman Estates. Clock at just over 4 minutes and counting here in this first quarter. Still no score between the Broncos and the Hawks on our HETV Game of the Week. Alongside John Anderson, I'm Ryan Fay with you here on the call from up top. Alongside the great work behind the scenes of our camera operations and production, courtesy of Bruce Anderson.
Well, here's a great opportunity for field position here if Barrington can get a return here.
A quick running punt there.
Short punt.
And it took a Barrington bounce as that one.
Looks like it's out of bounds right around the 20 or so.
Yeah, they marked that officially at about the 23. So
23.
Tommy Fitzpatrick is going to have some great field position here for this drive as they get in towards the red zone territory on this Hoffman defense.
historically, Barrington has run its quarterback a lot, and that's the case again this year. Fitzpatrick coming into this game with 65 carries, and I think when they get down this close, they really like to keep it on the ground and try to pound it in.
So 1st and 10 for Tommy Fitzpatrick and the Broncos at the 23-yard line in Hoffman territory. 2 receivers right, 1 left, and before the play even happens, we get a flag out on the field. Your officials for tonight, the referee Jim Bernardi, the umpire is Paul Black, as we get a false start on Barrington by the head ref and Jim Bernardi. Linesman is Peter King, the line judge is Randy Steen, the back judge is Dave Cleveland. So back the Broncos up 5 off that false start. Be 1st and 15 from the 28-yard line. Curran to the right hip of Fitzpatrick, 2 receivers right, 1 left. As we get a flag coming in, Fitzpatrick throws to his right, passes behind the intended receiver in Max Rayner, number 4. But let's see what the flag is. And it's another false start against Barrington. So 2 straight penalties to make it a 1st and 20. And it's been just kind of a back-to-back shoot yourself in the foot moment here, John, for the Broncos.
Yeah, they get field position and then don't do too much with it. So here we are at 1st and 20 now.
So they'll need to get to the Hoffman, about the 13-yard line, as Curran is going to get it on the run. He had a big run on the last drive. He gets ahead of the 30, still shakes off a few tacklers. He's a tough guy to bring down, and eventually helping him be brought down on the Hoffman side of it was Marcellus Chu, number 24, to bring up a 3rd down.
Curran seems to run with a little more heft than his 170 would indicate. He's really can put some energy into his running.
It was a gain of 5 on that run from Curran to bring up 2nd and 15. Need to get to the Hawks 13 to convert. 2 receivers left, 1 right. It was almost a drop snap from Fitzpatrick. He's trying to make something out of nothing, and he runs for maybe a yard out of that one off the miscue to bring up 3rd down and long. Kind of a, seeing how this drive has gone, or the drives rather, for this entire first quarter. We've seen the flashes, but then we've seen the inconsistency in the execution game for this Broncos team, hence why they're at 3-3 so far in the season and 0-2 in conference play. And that's rare to mention that Barrington is winless in conference play this far into a season.
Yeah, they're in a position where they have to win 2 of the next 3.
As Fitzpatrick airs it downfield, it is an incredible catch. Is he in for the end zone? They have not signaled it yet.
Looks like he came right down.
They rule it a touchdown. What a catch from E.J. Darlington to put the Broncos on the board first. Wow. So with 2:11 to go here in the first quarter, it's 6-0. Barrington extra point coming up, but what a catch from E.J. Darlington. So Hutchinson out now for the point after with 2:11 to go in this first quarter. The snap, the hold, and the kick, it is up, and it is good. So Tommy Fitzpatrick with a big throw to the near side to the corner of the pylon, and E.J. Darlington, at only 5'10", not a tall tree receiver, goes up and gets it, and the Broncos on the board first, and that's big, especially against this Hoffman defensive front.
Well, he's their leading receiver coming into this game. He was the 3rd leading receiver in the greater Northwest area, and at 23 catches for 357 yards, and he easily leads Barrington. He's, I believe, actually Curran may be the 2nd leading receiver for Barrington. So he really, really has been out front in catching the football.
Back deep for Hoffman is Mekhi Williams and Malik Whitehead as Hutchinson comes out now to kick this one away from his own 40. 7-0 our score. A big touchdown from E.J. Darlington to get the Broncos on the board first here in this first quarter with a few minutes to go in the opening quarter. So here's the kick as Whitehead will get it from just the edge of the goal line. They're going to say he stepped into the end zone, so it'll be a touchback. So off that touchback, it'll be Hoffman's turn to try to respond now, down by 7. And this Barrington team has felt comfortable over the last decade against this Hawks team. They've won the last 10 meetings with them. So needless to say, the Broncos do have some comfortability with going up against this Hawks team, but this Hoffman Estates team as a whole here in 2018 has been, you know, quite the staple in terms of, you know, measuring up to who the best is in this conference.
Hoffman Estates was way down about, 7 years ago. Way down. I think they were 0-9 or 1-8, and then started to turn around. And some of their turnaround was coincident with a very strong era for. There's a catch in the Barrington defense closing very quickly. A very strong era for Barrington, especially the last 4 years. They've been an offensive powerhouse, one of the best offensive teams in the state. And so even though Hoffman has been getting better and better, they bumped into very strong Barrington teams here the last few years. But this one, Hoffman this year matches up pretty well, and Barrington may be, at least on their off days, they're more beatable. But you know, as I've said a couple of times, they've got some a couple of signature wins this year that they can really be proud of early in the season.
The catch there was to the freshman Deshaun Johnson to make it no gain on that first down catch. Penalty flags fly out on the 2nd and 10. 1:23 on the clock. That is stopped at the moment. Officials will come together to discuss. Referee and Jim Bernardi will make the call. And that's going to go against the Hawks before the play. So that'll bring up a 2nd and 15 now off the 5-yard penalty. Legal procedure was the call on the field. 3 receivers out right, 2 to the left. Krogstad all alone in the backfield at his own 15-yard line on this 2nd and 15. Pressure comes, quick throw up the middle is caught. And getting ahead of the 15, and not very much after that was Cam Kindred, number 7. Bring up a 3rd down and long as the Broncos defense flew in on that one rather quickly. Diorio brought down Kindred, number 37 in the black uniform for Barrington on defense, as we now have under a minute to go in the opening quarter. 7-0 Barrington. There's only a gain of 2 on that reception there to Cam Kindred, the 6-foot senior wide receiver, also listed as a defensive back for the team. 2 receivers each side, running back at the right hip of Krogstad as the man goes in motion. Krogstad spins out of the pocket that collapsed on him. He's going to set his feet, air downfield in double coverage. The pass falls incomplete. Kozlowski in coverage there for Barrington, and that brings up a 4th down, as the intended receiver there looked like that was Makai Williams downfield, and it's 4th down Hawks. Jonah Walton now out to punt this one away for Hoffman inside its own 5. And back deep for Barrington is Luke Kozlowski. 29 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. High snap, and Walton just gets it off a line drive punt that takes a Hoffman bounce, and that's going to pay off for Walton, who didn't get the cleanest of receptions off the snap. And it's going to roll to the 30-yard line, and that's where Barrington will take the football over at.
Tremendously close, 36 and 37 for Barrington. We're in there. That's a couple of linebackers, Mark Diorio and Davin Schinhoster, came very, very close to blocking that, and instead it got off, and then it was low, and it never was returned, and it rolled and rolled and rolled. So one of those plays where inches made a tremendous difference, from a block punt to a punt that put Barrington way back.
1st and 10 now from the 30 for Barrington, as Fitzpatrick's going to keep it himself. He gets a block, he gets the edge on the far side for a 1st down, and more towards midfield, and out of bounds he will go. A nice keep there by the quarterback, Tommy Fitzpatrick, to bring up first down for the Broncos.
They're still showing us that running, that running capability. I have seen Barrington twice this year, not doing broadcasts like this, but I saw the Maine South game and I saw the Fremd game last week, and Fremd, just to put a little cloud over the game, Fremd is really coming up.
As this one on the carry end around and getting ahead of steam as the clock expires. It's the last play of the quarter, but the Broncos are going to start quarter number 2 in goal line territory as Quinn Catel puts the Broncos within a few yards of putting yet another score on the board as the first quarter comes to an end.
Yeah, he's a junior running back, 5'9", 165. He took off, got a good hold there. Some of the offensive linemen working for Barrington. Colin Kress, Sam Butera, offensive line, 5'11", 260. Nico Kutrampis, Tyler Wegahoff, and Ray Schmitz, 74. So they've been doing a pretty good job in this first quarter. It hasn't resulted in points on the board. We've had Barrington turn it over on downs and punt it away and have, I believe, 1 or 2 turnovers. So they just haven't cashed in, but now they're in position to do something right now at the beginning of the second quarter.
It'll be first and goal from the 3 as we're about to get the second quarter started in week 7 of our HGTV game of the week here at Barrington High School, home of the Broncos. Alongside John Anderson, I'm Ryan Fay with you here on the call on this cool and misty night here in Barrington. Had an earlier kickoff of 6 o'clock Chicago time here as impending storms appear to be affecting the area later tonight, so they want to get the game in without any weather issues. And there's several other games within the Northwest area that have done that same concept. So second quarter now about to begin. First and goal from the 3. Off the big run there from Quinn Catel, as this one to the left side is Curran, who tumbles forward for a gain of maybe 1 or 2 to put him close to the 1-yard line on second and goal that is forthcoming. Quickly back to the line now is Fitzpatrick. Receiver out to each side. We'll see if they go to Curran again, and it looks like they're gonna, but he is gonna be stuffed along the left side as the Hawks D-line got the edge there to bring up a third down.
Barrington with a couple of extra tight ends there on that play to enhance the running game. But Hoffman was right there to stop the back on that last play. Oh,
and it looks like, I think the Broncos got the Hawks to jump, and that is what they did. So now right at the edge of the goal line here, first and goal for the Broncos.
Isn't very much, but it's an important piece of yardage. When you get this close, now all you have to do is fall forward, or maybe even a quarter. Well, you can't do a quarterback sneak out of the deep set like this, but.
Yeah, correction, the downs don't reset as Fitzpatrick is going to roll to his right, and he is going to dive forward, and Fitzpatrick is in for a Barrington touchdown.
Nice blocking on the right side of that line for Barrington, and
So 13-0 our score, extra point coming up, courtesy of Will Hutchinson, but that big run there at the end of that first quarter that was set up from Quinn Catel is the reason why they got to where they were here to start off this second quarter of play. As the snap and the hold and the kick, it is up and it is rocketed on through the uprights and good.
Makes it 14-0. Took a touchdown away from Darlington there a moment ago. We were ahead. Barrington was ahead 7-0, and now 14-0.
Now, John, you and I have seen this Hoffman Estates team on a few occasions here in 2018 and how well that their defense has performed for a rather good chunk of the season. And let's just say we throw the Palatine game out the window for a moment here. What are you seeing different against this Hoffman Estates defense that Barrington is executing that maybe some of the other Hawks opponents didn't?
Well, I would say that I think they're just they're taking it to them with the running game a little more. I think some of the other opponents got out there, tried to pass so much, and fell victim to the pass rush and all the linebackers, some of the blitzing and everything. And so I think the run game, the execution of the run game here has enhanced the performance for Barrington offensively.
So kickoff about to come from Hutchinson. Going to be Whitehead and Williams back deep for Hoffman Estates as they both stand right inside their own 5-yard line. High booming kick as this one will go into the end zone for a touchback. It's a good kick there from Hutchinson.
This is a little bit reminiscent of last year when we were here and Hoffman came in and they were riding a 6-0 record, and in that game, as I recall, they fell behind something like 21-0 before they were able to put a score on the board. And now we sit with Barrington out in front 14-0 tonight, and Hoffman is in a position where they have to step it up here in order to keep the game competitive here.
So first down and 10 here for Kyle Krogstad and the Hawks at their own 20 off the touchback as they trail by 2 scores here. Oh, it is a little familiar territory based on what happened last week against Palatine. As a receiver comes in motion, and the handoff is going to go to Matt Montgomery, but he is immediately met and then brought into the backfield. So another good stop by this Barrington defense on the run for second down.
They had to rescue themselves with a real big second half there against Palatine. And Barrington, however, if they fall way behind Barrington, Barrington has played pretty solid defense all year. They've only allowed 17 points a game. So if you get 20 points, 25 points behind Barrington, you can be in big trouble.
There's a no gain on that run there from Matt Montgomery. So second and 10 still from the 20. So we have 10:20 to play and counting in this second quarter. 2 receivers out left, 1 to the right. As Krogstad still keeps the ball. He's going to try to roll to his right, and he's going to throw, and he finds a receiver. Penalty flag comes out, though. Catch was made at about the 25, but we'll see what the flag is going to do here after the catch. And it looks like an ineligible man downfield is going to go against the Hawks, so that'll back them up even more. So after Krogstad kind of makes something out of nothing, that one comes immediately back because of the penalty. Montgomery now is going to come off the field for the Hawks as Max Locke has now come into the backfield for Hoffman Estates.
This is a Hoffman Estates team that's averaging 38.5 points a game, and here we are. Well, we're still early in the second quarter, but Barrington certainly playing good defense so far, holding them scoreless at this point.
Krogstad over the middle, pass is dropped. Whitehead had it, but juggled it, couldn't hold on to it, and it's third down. It's not often that you see Malik Whitehead drop a ball that you usually would expect him to grab.
Yeah, he has really looked like a big-time receiver. We saw him against Prospect earlier in the year, but this is the 3rd time we've seen Hoffman, and he's quite a player. He leads the whole area in receiving, and it is rare that he drops them.
So 3rd and 15, ball at the 15. They'll need to get to the 30-yard line to convert. 3 receivers out right, 2 left. Krogstad all alone in the backfield with now under 10 minutes to go, 9:54. As the snap, as Krogstad steps up in the pocket, he's going to go to his left. Penalty flag comes in. He's going to get taken out of bounds as that was Diorio to bring him out. And we'll see what the flag does as the flag is right where the line of scrimmage essentially was, and that one is against Hoffman yet again. As they're going to get a holding, but the Broncos will decline the penalty to make it a 4th down for the Hawks. So the punting unit and special teams will come on out. As for Barrington, Lucas Kozlowski will be back deep to receive this punt for the Broncos. Walton to boot this one away. This time, instead of standing in the back of the end zone, he's standing at his own goal line. So this Barrington defense has stayed well disciplined against a Hawks team that can really attack you downfield so far, as Wallen kind of mishandled the snap there. Still takes a favorable bounce. Kozlowski's going to pick it up and stay to the edge past the 40. He stayed in bounds for a few extra yards. And a flag comes out late. 2 flags come out. And it looks like we have some extracurriculars after the play ends. So we'll sort this out in a moment. As in the scrum there, it appeared that was Jordan Lane for Hoffman Estates. And I saw a few Broncos getting pulled out of the scrum as well. So the officials will sort this one out. And when you get into the heart of the conference season, you kind of expect it to be a little chippy at times.
Yeah, it sure is. There's rivalries that have developed, and
that's going to go against Hoffman for a personal foul. So another bonus here for Barrington, already up by 2 touchdowns, 9:33 to play in the first half.
The conference is really tight this year with, other than Hoffman, you know, well, there's 3 teams that are 2-0 and 3 that are 0-2, but
you can never count out a Barrington team by any means.
Going forward, there's really nobody that's playing terrible football. Palatine is off defensively from what they've been the last few years, but most of the teams are playing good quality football in the conference right now.
So with that penalty, it puts the Broncos here to start this drive on the Hawks 14. 2 receivers out left, 1 right. As he's going to fake the handoff to his current guy, swallowed up in the backfield. Fitzpatrick's going to keep it, makes a few moves inside the 10, and a nice keep there from quarterback Tommy Fitzpatrick to make it a 2nd down and short.
He's again showing what he can do as a ball carrier. He's done very, very well all season as a ball carrier.
It was a gain of 9 on the run from Fitzpatrick. 2nd and 1 at the 5, as we now have 9 minutes to play in the second quarter. 14-0 Barrington. 2 receivers left, 1 right. As Curran's going to get it to the far side. Curran trying to make a move inside towards the numbers. It is enough for a 1st and goal, though, as Barrington is charging in once again. We'll have the ball spotted for a 1st and goal at the Hoffman 3-yard line.
I think Barrington may have found something there with the Hoffman defense where they're not covering the quarterback run quite as intensely as they should be, and they're picking up good yardage on that play.
So Fitzpatrick now comes back from the sidelines, getting the call there from the head coach, Joe Sanchez.
There's
2 men in the backfield.
Running formation, 2 men in the backfield.
But we get a timeout, as I don't think head coach Joe Sanchez liked what was happening out there with his offense, kind of being in a little bit of shambles, trying to set up. So the first timeout used here of this first half of play. Barrington still has 2 more. Hoffman has all 3 of theirs. 14-0 our score, 8:51 to play in this first half. Alongside John Anderson, I'm Ryan Fay with you here for week 7 of our 2018 IHSA football coverage here in the Mid-Suburban West Conference. Here for our HETV game of the week. And you know, you kind of just alluded to it a moment ago about how the Hawks defense isn't really kind of, not saying game planning for it, but really kind of honing in on Fitzpatrick keeping the football as a runner at the quarterback spot.
Yeah, he's had running room tonight, and he has run a lot on the season. However, on the season, he's been held down as a runner to an average of about 2.5 yards a carry, and I would say that he's well above that average tonight. And certainly, from what I saw last Saturday against Fremd, he's got more running. Fremd is a team to watch out for. They started poor, and now they've got a 3-game winning streak.
So 1st and goal at the 3 after we come in from the Broncos timeout. 2 men were in the backfield, and getting the carry up the middle, that was Cattell. Quinn Cattell, number 30, gets a gain of maybe a couple on that one, as they're going to call that for the spot to be at the 1.
And here's Barrington.
Same formation
banging
again.
on the door. They can go 21-0 here.
As this one, it's going to go to Michael Curran, who spins forward, and he is in for a Barrington touchdown.
There you go. My recollection is that they raced out to 21-0 last year. That was an afternoon game. That was the homecoming here at Barrington. They raced out to 21-0, as I recall, last year, and here we are, a year later. Hoffman leads the league again, or we're at 6-0 again, and Barrington has raced out fairly quickly to 21-0 again. We've got 8 minutes to go in the half.
As the extra point from Will Hutchinson is up and good, 21-0 Barrington. And Hoffman Estates found themselves in a similar spot like they were last week against Palatine, as they trailed that game at halftime, 31-12 last week. So they're going to need that same kind of magic here yet again against this Broncos defense that has really been able to kind of keep this Hoffman offense intact with a guy, a quarterback like Croxted, who's the area's top passer with just under 1,200 yards coming into action tonight.
They had a run there where they allowed 6 points, 14 points, 7 points, and 0. In 4 games there. They were 27 points in 4 games, and now the last 2 weeks it's been much tougher.
Yeah, this Hoffman Estates team coming into play today has allowed 92 points total. And if you count for the 44 that they allowed against Palatine and the 21 here today, that's, if I can do my math correct, that is 65 points. So that's already, 2/3 of your points allowed in 2 weeks back to back.
Yeah, it's been a rough sledding here for a while. It's hard to keep it up. It's a short season, but it's a long season. And a lot happens over the course of 9 games.
As this one off the kickoff from Hutchinson goes into the end zone for a touchback. So Croxted and the Hawks offense back out there with plenty of work to do, down by 3 touchdowns with 8:17 to go here in the second quarter. And the running game, too, for this Hawks team, led by Matt Montgomery here tonight, and Max Lockett in a few touches as well. Just really haven't been able to get through that front 7 of this Broncos defense.
Yeah, we've got on defense for Barrington, we've got I believe we've got Jack Connors and Matt Reedy and Paul Contreras as a linebacker, but down in the line, and these linemen are just a little over 200 pounds, but they're both 6'4".
As that one is caught there by Cam Kindred, the senior wide receiver, as he gets that one just ahead of the 30 for a Hoffman Estates first down, and that has to make Kyle Croxted feel a little bit comfortable helping to move the ball downfield here off of a first down throw. And we get a whistle after the ball's been spotted. And I'm not sure why we have the stoppage of play. Clock stopped at 8:09. Again, the chains always have to move, so I know that's why the clock stops, and then the refs will wind it once they get things played and ready to go. Not sure why we had the delayed stoppage, but now we go on. Three receivers out left, one right, as Krogstad rolls to his left, looks for a receiver downfield and trying to go to his left across his body. He was looking for the intended receiver in Nick Eppenbaugh, number 26. That one was overthrown, though, and it falls incomplete for second down. Looks like the same formation once again. Montgomery in the backfield with Krogstad. With 7:55 to play in the half. Barrington shows blitz there for a moment, trying to get the snap count. The other linebacker has had a nice impact here so far through one half of football. As Krogstad pocket collapses, he makes two spin moves and he's going to fall down. I believe a penalty flag did come out of it, as bringing him down in the end there.
And that's holding.
Was Kevin Mecker.
Looks like it's holding against Hoffman, so that's not going to help him. That'll be declined, and Barrington will take that play. which resulted in a big loss. Big loss.
And has a loss of 12 there. So it makes it 3rd down and 22. Ball at the touchback spot of the 20. So they'll need to get all the way to the 42-yard line to convert this. Long way to go here for the Hawks on 3rd down.
Barrington defense really playing well. They've played well all season, especially the first 2-3 games of the season. Then not quite as well, but still not bad.
As a receiver in motion, doesn't get anything out of it.
The pursuit and number.
I think that was Robert Roeder there, along with number 24 and Sam Sheedy that was in coverage to stop that one, because in motion there, getting the touch, was Deshaun Johnson, number 10, as he lost 3 on that 3rd and 22, so it's now 4th and 25. And Kozlowski now standing inside Hoffman territory to try to receive this punt. Jonah Walden to boot this one away from right near the edge of his own goal line once again. And he's had a little bit of trouble trying to handle the snaps. And this one actually may have had a fingertip on it from Barrington's side of it. And, you know, the punting game has really not been the strong suit so far tonight.
No. They had that one lucky one that was almost blocked that rolled a lot, but outside of that, it's been not an exhibition of good punting. So that sets Barrington up with an opportunity to really blow this game open. You know, it's really a bit surprising.
So the ball now for Barrington going to start at the Hawks 30-yard line with 6:45 to play. 2 receivers out right, 1 to the left. As that man goes in motion from the left side, Fitzpatrick is going to throw to the right side. Pass is incomplete, as diving out for that one full extension was Darlington. Second down.
Pretty good coverage, but they almost made the play anyway. He had to lead him a fair amount because he had a defender right on his shoulder practically. So if there was going to be a completion, it had to be leading him by a bit.
So second down off the incompletion, looking for Darlington, the intended target. Ball to the near left hash. Current at the right hip of Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick playing a good game tonight.
So now Curran switches to the left hip. As this one, Fitzpatrick's going to keep himself, and that's an
that
awkward.
time a linebacker came around from the left side there, I believe, and followed him and got him before he could really get going.
Yeah, and getting an awkward tumble, falling to the ground on that one was number 6 and Jerry Doheny, who kind of got upended, got taken down by the leg side, and then you had another Hoffman defender kind of get him in from the upper body at the back. So, and the medical staff rushed out there rather quickly as they kind of saw how awkward he got taken to the ground.
6'4", 170, a wide receiver.
So the medical staff, as he wanted to get up right away, just kind of just fell jellied to the turf.
A lot of injuries occur where there's those awkward positions in traffic.
Yeah, and it looks like there may have been another injured Bronco that got hurt on the field prior. As I'm seeing on the bench right now, that's number 82 and the brother of Jerry, John Doheny, who I don't know, maybe could be shaken up because of his brother, but he kind of looked a little awkward with his left arm as well. As looks like being helped off his brother Jerry, as he's standing upright at the moment with some support from the trainers here at Barrington. Well, as when you see those plays, you kind of hold your breath there for that extra second, John.
Yeah, it's.
See, it looks like he's favoring perhaps his left leg at the moment.
He's having a lot of difficulty putting any weight on.
Yeah, he's hopping off with hopping off with his right foot, and that is not a good sign that you want to see.
Yeah, that's probably the end of this game. Hopefully not much more, but really looks like he's not going to be with us for the rest of this game.
So 3rd down and 10. One receiver out Teat side. As Fitzpatrick's going to keep it. He's going to step up. He's going to try to roll to his right as he's trying to use that speed of his. But he is going to be chased down to the far side as that was Max Locke chasing him down for 4th down.
Almost broke that one, but good closing on the part of Hoffman Estates there that prevented a gain there.
So no gain on that run officially. Offense staying out there with the ball at the Hawks 29 as we have under 6 minutes to go, and now the kicking unit's going to come on out in a later decision made by head coach Joe Sanchez. And the kicking unit is going to be out there to attempt this field goal. Be about 46 yards here for Hutchinson. Let's see if he's got the boot and running out to the field. And we get a flag that gets flown. Joe Sanchez tried to call the timeout perhaps before a delay of game. Back judge coming in there, and Dave Cleveland to sort this one out with the head ref and Jim Bernardi. See if maybe the timeout was called before the flag had been thrown. Although a considerable amount of time there taken off to try to get the field goal unit out there to perhaps beat the delay of game penalty that could have sufficed. And it looks like they're going to pick up the flag, and that is what happened. So timeout Barrington. That's their second. They've got one more. Hawks still have all 3 of theirs. As at the moment, it looks like it's going to be a 46-yard field goal attempt for Will Hutchinson. And in conditions like this, John, you have to wonder, you know, you trust your kicker enough in these conditions to have that leg to get it underneath and through.
Well, let's see. It's not terribly windy. It is. I don't know if we've got a little drizzle out there yet or not. But,
it's kind of, you get that like that mist feeling as we walked into the stadium today. You kind of get that mist vibe.
Yeah.
Not considerable drops, but those are supposed to be heading here to the area tonight.
Looking at the flag, the American flag, it looks like it's you know, just hanging straight down. So we don't have a problem with wind at all.
Well, let's see if
it may be misting just a little bit.
Let's see if 46 can hit from 46. The snap, the hold, and the kick. He has got plenty of distance on it. Is it through the uprights? Yes, it is. And that had plenty of distance on it, too. Will Hutchinson makes it 24-0 Broncos.
24-0. This is a very serious deficit for Hoffman. This Barrington defense is playing very well. They're physical, and they're coming off of a rough game with Fremd where they probably doubled up on intensity and practice. And Barrington looks like they're playing to win a game, and they're up 24-0. Well, their defense has played pretty well this year, and that's going to be a mountain to climb for Hoffman Estates.
So 24-0 our score, a 46-yard field goal from Will Hutchinson for the Broncos to put him in that spot, as they have had their staple through this first half of play so far against an unbeaten Hawks team that has already clinched the playoff spot, but has, over the last 10 meetings, has not fared well against the Broncos, whether it was at home or here at Barrington. Last year, Barrington had a convincing victory against Hoffman Estates, especially in that second half last year, 47-21. The Broncos got that victory.
And Hoffman, the last 2 years, has had very impressive teams.
There's another touchback here from Hutchinson, just showing off that impressive leg is number 46, Will Hutchinson.
I saw 2 of the playoff games that Hoffman was in last year, especially the first one against De La Salle. They won 34-0. And that Hoffman team, of course, lost last year, pretty big to Barrington. And the year before that, they made the playoffs, and they lost a real squeaker to Bennett. It was 23-all late in the game, and Bennett scored right at the end of the game to edge them. But it's not for want of good quality teams. Hoffman has had I'd say the last 4 years, they've been pretty competitive football over there.
So the Hawks will come out on their own 20. 2 receivers to each side as Krogstad takes the snap. He's going to air it over the middle, and that one almost intercepted. Kozlowski in coverage. That ball kind of had a little extra hang time underneath that throw, and it's second down. As the intended receiver there, Cam Kindred, has been targeted a few times here in this first half. And we mentioned how this Barrington team has kind of had its own out-of-sorts problems through the middle part of the season after the victory on the road at Maine South, trying to figure themselves out. And now it looks like Hoffman's kind of picked that up, and Barrington kind of gave them that contagious part of their offense. Is this one overthrown to the right side for Kindred, again incomplete, and it's third down.
Yeah, Croft has had quite a year. He's had 19 touchdown passes, and he also runs moderately well, and so the whole Hoffman team has been averaging 38.5 points a game, and here we sit with 5 minutes to go. They still have a goose egg up there.
So 3rd and 10, and airing it to the right side. Pass is dropped, it looks like, as in cover, running downfield, Deshaun Johnson. Looked like he had a step on the initial man in coverage for Barrington, but kind of took that stutter step, but kind of just stopped running there and maybe took his eye off the ball there for a second. 3 straight passes, 3 incompletions, 4th down.
A beautiful new scoreboard here at Barrington, and right now it shows us 4th and 10 for the Hawks with 5:11 to go in the half. Down 24-0.
Yeah, new video board installed here this year.
Let's see what they do with the kick this time. They've had trouble punting tonight on occasion. This one is
that's a nice one. As
this one is a nice one.
Kozlowski calls for the fair catch just ahead of his own 40. And with 5:04 to play here in this first half, this really gives Barrington another excellent spot here to really pad the lead and go with some great confidence in the locker room at halftime.
Plenty of time to mount a drive and score again, which would be a mammoth lead considering how well the Barrington defense is playing.
Ball be spotted at the 42 for Tommy Fitzpatrick and the Broncos. 3 receivers out right, 1 left. Curran at the left hip of Fitzpatrick. Snap and the toss to the left for Curran. He's got blockers downfield. Tries to spin away from a tackler though, and gets taken down just ahead of the 45. As that one, Arthur Robinson helped for the Hawks to bring him down, along with number 8 and Darian Waits. Gain of 6 on the run for Curran to make it 2nd down.
Barrington has really played a tough schedule when you look at it for the season. A really, really tough schedule.
2nd and 4 at the 48. Fitzpatrick quick throw to the right, and the pass is caught. Darlington, and he's going to get up the field. But we got 2 flags that come out. Darlington gets into the end zone. We got to see what the flags are, and it looks like this one may be coming back. So that would have been a 52-yard touchdown, but it looks like this one's going to come back as 2 penalty flags came out, 1 at the line of scrimmage and 1 downfield just about at the Hoffman 26-yard line. Looks like we may have 2 different penalties here. One it looks like is going to be a hold. Let's get the call here from the head ref and Jim Bernardi.
Now the one in the backfield almost sure a hold.
Flags get picked up. Teams are back out to where the line of scrimmage was at the 48, and they're going to mark this one back. So I think they'll accept the penalty off the hold call that went against the Broncos. Or we never got an official signal actually as to what was called. Looks like we did get a hold call. So it is a 10-yard penalty. So that backs them up now inside their own 40. 3 receivers right as Curran is going to get the toss to the left again, and he leapfrogs to the 45-yard line. High in the air was Michael Curran. Maybe watching a little Space Jam and believing he can fly. Brings up 3rd down for Barrington. Fitzpatrick getting the call from the sidelines and head coach Joey Sanchez. Personnel switches now as Cattell now will come out onto the field. 2 backs in the backfield. Cattell at the left hip, Curran at the right hip of the quarterback Fitzpatrick. 2 receivers right, 1 left. As Fitzpatrick is going to keep it himself, stumbles away from 1 defender, but then Max Locke able to bring him down as well at the 40 to force a 4th down. It was a 4-yard loss off the keep there from Tommy Fitzpatrick, who does have a 1-yard touchdown run in this game, as the punting unit now is going to come on out.
Well, very costly holding penalty on that drive. So as it works out, here it is, 4th down, and they have to punt it away. But Barrington out in front, 24-0, and we've got about 3 minutes to go in the half.
Malik Whitehead back deep at about his own 15. Hutchinson to punt it. He made a 46-yard field goal earlier in the quarter. There's a nice kick here from Hutchinson. Malik's going to let that one go. And
gets a nice roll for Barrington.
And that gets inside the 5-yard line, too. Have a night for yourself so far in this first half. Will Hutchinson kicking a 46-yard field goal with much distance after it went through the uprights, and now pinning the Hawks within their own 5-yard line.
They've got 2:42, so they don't have a tremendous amount of time. They have a very long way to go, and they're down 24-0. So this...
They officially mark the ball at the 2.
It's a very lopsided first half here, and maybe Hoffman can do something here in the twilight of the half.
So the Hawks working deep in their own territory to start a drive. This one, it starts at the 2. They have 3 straight incompletions on the last drive to go 3 and out. 3 receivers right, 1 left. Now the man in the backfield goes out towards the receiver spot, as this one catching it is Montgomery, and he's going to get a few blocks past the 15 for a first down, and the Hawks able to breathe now out of their own goal line for a first down.
Swung it out under the 3 men that were right, and just used them as blockers. And that's a play that's being used a lot today. You turn your receivers into blockers, you throw it to a running back, and you've got all of it happening in space, and there he got a decent gain out of it.
As a throw to the left, as this one is complete, that's Lane. Gets taken out just ahead of the 25-yard line. So now this Hawks offense trying to get back to its old clicking ways, like they did in that second half as they had that big rally for the victory against Palatine. And they're going to need to kind of make the same deja vu magic here tonight.
Now Palatine is, for whatever reason, they're last in defense in the conference. Over the last 4 or 5 years, they've been first in defense almost every year. And
it's a weird sentence to say for sure.
Flipped all the way to last.
As this one a carry up the middle for a few, and we'll see where they spot it. It looks like a gain of maybe a couple to bring up the 3rd down. 2 minutes to go here in the first half. 24-0 Barrington over Hoffman Estates. Second week here where the Hawks have fallen behind by a considerable margin in the first half. They trailed Palatine last week at the first half by the score of 31-12 before a humongous rally in that second half to get them a 3-point victory, 47-44. 3rd down and 3 from the 24. Montgomery in motion to the backfield, as Krogstad is wanting to go that way, but it's not going to work. Barrington's defense at it again, as bringing them down for the sack was Lucas Van Ness, the junior defensive lineman, for 4th down. And a timeout called by Barrington. That's their final. And a smart timeout there to maybe try to get one more score here with under 90 seconds to play in the half.
So far, we haven't gotten any of the rain. I guess the rain is supposed to start around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and we ought to be just about done by that time.
Yep, and that's one of the decisions why they wanted to make the kickoff for 6 o'clock, so that way the weather doesn't affect the crowd, you know, for one, and the safety of the players and everybody here. So, as you mentioned, it would look like we can get this in before the storms do hit.
Storms, and if there's a lot of lightning, that can result in
delays.
Big delays. I've been involved in a few of those. And
well, if you recall,
not much fun.
What week? I'm trying to remember what week it was. We were at Hoffman. I think it was when they were hosting Prospect. That every other game in the area was having weather delays, and we were one of the few that didn't, and we saw the lightning way off in the distance. That didn't affect us.
Yeah, the lightning was very, very remote from us, and I had occasion to read the IHSA rules, and if it's at all close it is incumbent upon the officials there
and they did not stop it.
To stop it, but
and they didn't.
This was not close, but you saw it in the distance.
And it was nice for our game. We got done at about 9:30, while some games were still in the third quarter.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a late night, as this one is a blocked punt. Walton's punt is blocked, and the Broncos are going to pick it up for a touchdown.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Picking it up for the Broncos, number 22, and Kevin Mecker to the house, and it's 30-0 Barrington.
Well, this is surprisingly one-sided. Surprisingly one-sided. It's it's shaped up as a competitive game based on records and everything.
Yeah,
Barrington has played the tougher schedule. But,
yeah, and you look at it as a whole.
3-3 team versus a 6-0, and here we are 30. We're going to be 31-0 unless there's a missed extra point here by a kicker that's kicked a 46-yard field goal already.
The snap, the hold, and the kick, it is up, and it is right through the uprights and good. 31-0 Barrington.
31-0 Barrington. This is.
And you mentioned this, saying how coming into it now, and Barrington, if you've been following Barrington football, whether it's within the area or just around the state in general, this isn't just your normal 3-3 Barrington team. This is a team that once this gets clicking, they are a perennial favorite in the class of 8A.
Yeah.
And they're showing that here once again tonight, and they're trying to get that bad taste out of their mouth and that shutout loss they had to Fremd, and they're doing that in quite the convincing manner here with 1:15 to go in the half.
Assuming they make the playoffs, and it certainly looks like they're going to do it based on what we've seen in the first half tonight, they're going to be a very formidable 3-loss team.
They'd be a dangerous team, especially in terms of how seeding would go come postseason time.
Somebody with 1 or 2 losses would bump into them and really have a game on their hands. And after this, Barrington has Schaumburg and Palatine. And there's nobody in the conference that's a complete pushover.
As Hutchinson for the kickoff, that'll be way into the end zone for a touchback, and that one hit off the bottom crossbar. Almost went through the uprights. Crowd gets an extra laugh out of that one. So do we in the booth. So the Hawks will come back out there once again, down by 31. And again, the rule here for high school football, 40 points and greater for a margin institutes the running clock. And we're not there yet, but we are getting a little close.
And it's my understanding, I'm quite sure of this, that once you hit that running clock, that's it. It's not as if the team that's trying to catch up puts 2 touchdowns on the board and then they stop the running clock. Once it starts, it goes. And so that's a factor at 31-0. Barrington's just not that far away from it.
2 receivers out right, 1 to the left. 1 man in the backfield for Krogstad as the carry for Matt Montgomery gets away from a couple of blockers and gets a gain of about 5 for 2nd down. And again, it's been a shell shock of how this Hoffman Estates team looks here tonight. Only allowing 92 points coming into tonight, 31 here so far through 1/2 of play as we have under 45 seconds now to go.
So sound defensively against Schaumburg a couple of weeks ago.
As Whitehead makes the catch to the left side for a 1st down. Clock will stop with 37.9 seconds. It says they set the chains.
That was a 14-0 game, and in the 3 weeks before that, they had allowed only 27 points. So they were allowing 9 points a game for those 3 weeks and then 0. Now tonight, in a half of football, they've allowed more than the previous, that whole 4-game stretch.
As this one, a run up the middle to the left side, it went to the 40 for a gain of about 6 or 7. Timeout called by the officials as Hoffman Estates calls their first timeout. They'll have 2 remaining with 18 seconds, but you know, if you're Tim Heisey and this Hawks team, whether it's offensively or defensively here, John, what are you telling your team here down by 31?
Well, down by 31, the reality is that you have to tell them that, you know, we've got to make some big plays, real big plays, because you can't just work little screen passes and 2 or 3 yard runs. So they've got to really open it up and go deep into their playbook in the second half. And And on defense, you've got to try to get the turnovers. You probably have to try to jump some routes, take some chances on your pass defense, and try to intercept that screen pass or whatever, and just take some chances on a receiver getting behind you and go for the football.
It's a gain of 7 on that run. 2nd and 3 at the 41. As we approach halftime here at Barrington, and this one a run that is immediately stuffed, as that's Diorio, who's had quite the first half, the linebacker for the Broncos, and that is looking like that'll do it for our first half of play. But what a first half from the Barrington Broncos here at home tonight.
Barrington playing a very physical defense. It must be reminiscent of their game against Warren, when they just completely dominated. I looked at the stats on that game and I thought, wow, it looks like Barrington is headed for a 9-0 season with no trouble.
Right, as they go to the half with a 31-point lead over the unbeaten Hoffman Estates Hawks. We'll take our halftime break and we'll get you set for second half action and a whole lot more here from Barrington High School on our HETV Game of the Week. We'll be back in a bit. Back with you here to get the second half started for our Week 7 coverage for HETV's Game of the Week here at Barrington High School. The Broncos have a 31-0 lead over the conference-leading Hoffman Estates Hawks. Alongside John Anderson, I'm Ryan Fay with you here on the calls. We're about to get the second half started, and John, it's just been all Broncos all night.
Yeah, and that's really surprising. I would say that Barrington has played a somewhat tougher schedule. Of course, they were 3-3. And Hoffman came in here 6-0, and just looking at their schedule, they've beaten teams with 3-3 records, 4-2, 3-3, and so on. So they've beaten some teams with decent records, and Barrington has 3 losses, and so I certainly was not expecting something like this. The last game we broadcast with Hoffman was over at Schaumburg, and their defense really looked sound. They won that game 14-0, and I would say the one thing that's going a little better here tonight, the quarterback running for Barrington, I'd say, is that play is working pretty well. Their defense is tough. Their kicking game is strong. We've got a 46-yard field goal, part of the point total here, and the punting has been good. But just overall, the Barrington offense has really come to life, and they haven't. It hasn't been a great year offensively for Barrington. It's been good on and off, and but tonight they're really clicking. They've really polished up their game, and they've managed to put 31 points on the board against what we still think is a fairly decent defense.
Barrington kicks off and the second half underway, and Hutchinson will hit this one back for a touchback over the head there of Malik Whitehead. Again, the Hawks in their road white jerseys, orange pants, blue helmets, and the Broncos in their home black uniforms, black jerseys, black pants, black helmets with the white trim and numbers. And the Hawks will be going left to right here for this third quarter offensively, while Barrington will be going right to left. And a lot of answers need to come fast for this Hoffman offense that has not gotten much done by the aerial attack or the running game through one half of football.
And you usually have to go a little deeper into the playbook. You might see a halfback pass. You might see something like the hook and ladder. Some of these trick plays enter into the repertoire of Hoffman Estates here in the second half in order to try to get some really big plays.
As this first one of the second half is a carry up the middle to Matt Montgomery. Gain of a few there for second down, and this has been a Hoffman team that has that Ferris wheel of running backs that they can have in the backfield. Matt Montgomery just one of them, along with Max Locke. You'll see at times, sometimes even there's been a couple carries from Marshawn Washington on some occasion, as that was a run of 7 there from Montgomery, as Croxett throws to the left, passes caught for a first down and some more, and making a few moves down the sideline. Just short of the 45-yard line is Jordan Lane, the senior wide receiver. So maybe the Hawks trying to change things up with some play calling, and they're moving the ball here on this opening drive of the second half.
Starting out with some good execution of plays, and they've parlayed that into some field position here. There were where they're right out there at midfield. They're almost at the 50. They're about their own 44 or so.
So a new set of downs quickly here on this opening third quarter drive. Ball at the 43-yard line. Receiver coming in motion, that's Lane. As Kyle Crockstead hands it off to Matt Montgomery, who gets up the middle towards the 50. And that's where he'll be brought down, met by the Broncos defense for second down.
You can score fast in football if you can get somebody with speed open and just make it a foot race. And probably they were working some of those plays where they were throwing to the halfback behind two, three receivers. Here's
this
a flag
one, maybe
right
12 men on the field, and that's what they're going to get, I believe, as you saw Mark DiOrio trying to run off the field to the near sideline, and that's when the penalty flag had been thrown. So that is going to move Hoffman into Broncos territory now, and because of that, it's a first down for the Hawks. So the ball now at the Barrington 46. Hawks with a lot of work to do here, down 31-0. As the high snap, Crockstead fakes the throw, rolls to his left, throws across his body, and the pass falls incomplete as they were looking there to the far sideline outside the numbers, and that one will be a second down coming up, as that one was to the intended receiver in Darian Waits, the 5'10 junior.
I believe Barrington is going with a four-man line, and they're generating good pass rush.
2nd and 10.
When you've got a quarterback that's thrown 19 touchdown passes, you want to put a little heat on him.
And coming in with just under 1,200 yards thrown as well.
We have a four-man line, and they're all athletic guys that are just a little over 200 pounds or so. And look at that speed there in the Barrington defense.
And that's kind of right on cue to your point, bringing them down. That's Van Ness, Lucas Van Ness, number 90, to bring up third down, gain of maybe a yard on this third and long coming up.
6'5", 215. A rangy, fast player.
So a gain of officially 1. Ball to the far hash, 2 receivers left, 1 right. Ball at the 45.
Looks like a...
Here's Crockstead rolling to his right. And a penalty flag comes in. Pass falls incomplete to the sideline. The intended receiver in the area there was Deshaun Johnson. This one looks like it's going to be a hold on the Hawks.
In the backfield, it has all the appearance of a hold, yeah.
Again, your officials for tonight, the head referee Jim Bernardi, the umpire Paul Black, the linesman Peter King, Randy Steen is the line judge, Dave Cleveland the back judge.
Well, they came back against Palatine last week, but I haven't seen Palatine this year, but their defense has really underperformed. They're last in the conference, and Barrington is one of the better defensive teams in the conference.
So off of that penalty that went against the Hawks, this now puts them at 3rd and 24. Back at the 40. Then you get all the way to the Barrington 36 to convert. 2 receivers left as Crockstead has time in the pocket. He's going to air it over the middle, and the pass is incomplete, and a flag comes in. That was number 23, and Luke Kozlowski in coverage. The intended receiver, Cam Kindren, that went over his head, and I think Barrington's trying to argue that would have been an uncatchable ball. So we'll see what the officials call here, because this could be quite a turnaround from 3rd and 24 to a possible first down.
Wrong time to get pass interference for Barrington.
Referee's convening. And they are going to get pass interference on the Broncos.
Really big penalty.
So that is going to put the ball now at the Barrington 45-yard line. So they get the yardage right back. So now it's 3rd down and 9. And I think there's a timeout on the field. There is one. I thought the rule was, wouldn't that have been an automatic first? I think the officials now are going to talk about it. Hoffman calls a timeout, though. Or did they call an official's timeout? Even though the one referee did point to the Hawks side calling for the timeout. And then the officials coming together at midfield. I believe it should have been an automatic first based off the pass interference call.
I'm not 100% sure that holds true in all situations in high school football, but let's see. There's about 4 or 5 differences between college, pro, and high school, and
because it was a loss of 15 off the first flag that won against Hoffman. Then the pass interference put them 15 back to where they originally were off that 2nd down.
Yeah.
And now we're at 3rd and 9, so
we're staying
I guess we're going to stay where we're at. So a big 3rd down conversion here coming up for Hoffman Estates in this opening 3rd quarter drive. 3 receivers left, 1 right. Krogstad gets the snap, spins out of the pocket, rolls to his right. He's going to throw it. It's a jump ball, and it deflected through, and almost getting that one actually was Deshaun Johnson, but it brings up 4th down.
Almost caught, almost intercepted, almost everything on that play. So it's 4th down, and Hoffman will have to go for it here, I think. You know, they're in a situation here, down 31-0, and we're in the second. We're not far into the second half, but we're into the second half, and so they're going for it.
And I think at this point, trailing by as much as you are, you don't blame them for that, as 2 receivers are out to each side. Krogstad takes the snap in the shotgun. He's going to throw to his right. Pass is dropped. That was Max Locke, who took his eyes off the ball as it was coming to him. And a bad drop forces the turnover on downs, and the Broncos offense right back out there towards midfield for this first 3rd quarter drive for Barrington.
Right now, Barrington, as I keep saying, has a couple of signature wins over Warren and Maine South. They're right now at 31-0. It's maybe a little early to talk about it, but they may be working on another signature win tonight, where they take down a good team in impressive fashion.
So 1st and 10, and I think Hoffman jumped.
Yeah.
That was Ogini.
Type of thing. When you're down 31-0 and you're anxious, these mistakes can start to pile up, and things can start cascading against you.
There was also Ramon Rodriguez that may have also been called for it, as him and Ogini at the line jumped respectively. So 1st and 5 now with the ball at the 50. Curran's going to get it off the toss to the right, and he is going to be met in the backfield, and that's Max Locke, who just dropped that 4th down catch for Hoffman on offense, comes up with a nice stop on defense for a tackle for loss.
That's what Hoffman does so nice. They do pursue the outside, some of the outside runs like that.
Make it 3. 1st and 8 from the 47.
2nd and 8, and
well, I did think I heard the PA say 1st and 8, but I think he'll say that was his bad. 2nd and 8, as Fitzpatrick's going to keep it himself to the far side for a 1st down and more into Hawks territory and ripped out of bounds. And Barrington calling for maybe a horse collar, not getting it though. Nevertheless, a nice 1st down run from quarterback Tommy Fitzpatrick.
he certainly, tonight he's doing better running than he has throughout most of the season. He's run a lot, but he's getting some big gains, and that's probably partly his. Looked like he read that real well, but perhaps that's the one weakness with Hoffman, is maybe they don't track the quarterback quite as tightly as they should.
Flags fly out after the snap. And it looks like this is going to come back, as this one appears to be against the Broncos. Referee Jim Bernardi, our head ref tonight. Although I don't think he actually made an official signal to the to the crowd or the booth, but nevertheless, 1st and 15. 2 receivers out left. Man comes in motion, and Fitzpatrick will keep it. Steps up, throws over the field. It is incomplete. They were looking there for David Hudson, as there were a sea of white jerseys in the secondary, and that one overthrown for 2nd down.
Really is quite a quite an excellent scoreboard that they have, with very big very big numbers, very clear, easy to read. They had a good board before, but this is significantly better.
They made it easy for broadcasters.
Yeah,
I think that was the clear goal.
That's for sure. And
not for the crowd, it was for the broadcasters like us.
They did it without me even complaining about the old one.
I would have complained for you too. I would have went to bat for you at the committee meetings. 2nd and 15.
Here's
at
Barrington
the 31.
with 3 receivers wide right.
As Fitzpatrick scrambling back to midfield. Gets some blocks though, rolls to his left, flag comes out, he's hit as he's thrown, passes caught right ahead of the 30, but a flag came in right back towards the 49-yard line, and it's going to be a holding on Barrington. As bringing down Fitzpatrick there in the backfield was Arthur Robinson, who we've mentioned a bit in our previous games that we've covered when we've seen Hoffman Estates, especially in that matchup over at Hoffman Estates when they took on Prospect in week 2. He had a big impact in that week 2 victory. So this one's going to back Barrington up a ways here, as it is 2nd down, and I'd say a country mile, but it's 2nd down and 33, as they're going to put the ball way back at the 49-yard line. And now they're really moving it back. It's actually 2nd down and 43. So 2nd down and nearly half of a football field to go. See if there's any trickery for Barrington. They got 4 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Fitzpatrick all alone in the backfield. It's a one-on-one matchup to the right side of the field. They quickly go to the left for Hudson. He gets a few blocks past the 45. A flag comes out again. Ogini with the tackle. And as Hudson made the catch and run, and I think this one is going to come back even more. This is getting overwhelming here for the 2nd down and yardage. I don't know what the mid-suburban record is for how much of a yardage you have for a down and distance, but it is now 2nd down and 55. I don't know if there's any play. I don't know if there's a play in the playbook for a down and distance from this far out.
Yeah, this is bombs away, really.
Two receivers right, 1 to the left. I'm getting it all here in this game, as Fitzpatrick's going to keep it himself up the 35 towards the 40. Still brings up a 3rd down and, well, a ways to go. They would need to get all the way to the Hoffman 18-yard line to convert. So now it's 3rd down and 43. And I am saying that correctly. I am not. I am looking at the great video board here at Barrington. Do not adjust your viewing sets here of how you're watching this. It is 3rd down and 43. So 3 receivers right, 1 to the left. As this one is a quick throw to the right, pass is caught to Darlington, and Darlington with a nice run there after the catch. Gets into Hawks territory, but off of a 3rd and 43, that is not enough by a long shot for a 1st down.
4th and about 30 or something, you know.
And it should be no surprise the punting unit will come on out, as it is now 4th down and about 30, we'll say. Ball's at the 46. Fourth and 29 they make it as, based on the math. It'll be Hutchinson to punt this one away. A high snap. He fumbled the snap, and Nevertheless, doesn't matter who falls on it, but the Hawks will start at the Barrington 40.
Barrington 40, yeah. Yeah, that was...
That's the first miscue we've really seen here from Will Hutchinson tonight.
Was a little bit high, I thought. And what a tremendous break for Hoffman on that one. They were looking at really lousy field position, and now they've got the ball at the Barrington 40.
So first down and 10 from the Barrington 40. As this one to the left side is Montgomery, who gets ahead of the 35 for a nice run for second down. And it now looks like the rain has started to commence here at Barrington High School.
Starting to come down, steady.
And now it's starting to pour.
Yeah.
And
fans are heading for
yep, and I think they've actually, we do have an injured Hawk down on the far side of the field.
Don't believe we have any lightning yet. At least I haven't
seen anything, nor you know the horn that would go off in the area.
Fans on the Hoffman side are
starting
screaming out en masse. You know,
part the seas.
The score may have something to do with it. In addition to the fact that
now
it's getting wet.
we can even hear how hard it's starting to pour. Hope you have your windows up at your car, John. It is really starting to pour here at Barrington. You see the cheerleaders and the dance team running for cover.
And that has implications for the score here when you're ahead 31-0. Now that you've got rain, typically it's very hard to move the ball. It's a ball that's hard to throw, slippery to catch. And to try to make up something with a deficit of 31. Last week they came back under great conditions for football with a deficit of 19 points against the weakest defense in the league.
And
now they're up against one of the better defenses in the conference. And
didn't mean to interrupt you, John. Did see a strike of lightning off to our north. And the rain has now started to let up after about the 2-minute downpour we just had. Again, it's at the ref's discretion to, postpone for weather delay. Kind of the same situation we had back in week 2 with Hoffman. It's funny how it's always Hoffman Estates that always gives us these issues. But as that was Matt Montgomery who was injured on the play. Again, that was an injury timeout. And the rain and the weather not having to be the reason why the clock had stopped there. Although it was funny how that timed out where the official stopped the clock from running and all of a sudden it just poured.
Yeah.
But it was due to an injury timeout. Hope to see Matt Montgomery out there sooner rather than later. Rain appears now to have let up. Maybe just be a light drizzle at the moment. Second down and 4. Ball at the 34. 6:29 to play here in this third quarter. Still 31-0 Barrington. Again, rain coming out of the northwest direction here. Again, it hasn't been a windy night here tonight.
Almost, well, there was almost no wind before. Now it's up to maybe, looks like we probably got a 2-mile-an-hour wind.
As Croxton airs it downfield, touchdown Hoffman Estates, Malik Whitehead.
Whitehead got down there. It's a steady rainfall, but it's small drops. It's somewhere between a mist and a rainfall. And Whitehead, who leads the whole area, got behind the defender, and Hoffman has a touchdown.
So 34 yards there from Kyle Krogstad to Malik Whitehead. Gets the Hawks on the board. And the rain starts to intensify once again here at Barrington High School. And it is a turf field, so don't have to worry about the grass having to puddle. As this one is a low kick, it may have been a fingertip on the ball, but nevertheless the extra point is up and good. And with 6:10 to play in the third quarter, don't worry about the running clock yet, folks. It's 31-7. A nice pitching catch there, I should say rather just a catch and reception from Krogstad to Whitehead, and they have been looking for that here all night, and they finally got it here midway through this third quarter.
Steady rainfall right now, not a downpour, but a good steady rainfall, so didn't bother Hoffman on that long pass just now, though. On either the quarterback or the receiver had any trouble. So.
Yeah, that's true. Well, people are leaving now?
Barrington crowd here covered up with their umbrellas. The Hoffman crowd, I don't know if they just didn't bring their umbrellas tonight or not, because as John mentioned, they started to scatter for the masses.
Yeah.
The second it started to really pour about 10 minutes ago. The student section of Barrington has gone down considerably because of the weather. As kicking this one off is Colin Panic for the Hawks, as he's going to kick this one towards the 17-yard line. It's caught there by E.J. Darlington, and Darlington gets towards the 35 and brought down. They'll mark him down at the 36. So we mentioned pregame, and to start tonight's game, they moved the kickoff to 6 o'clock here tonight in the event of the storms that were coming, and it appears those storms have come maybe a little sooner than we had anticipated.
They should be a factor, but Crofstead and Whitehead connected on a long pass in spite of the rain.
So ball at
Put Hoffman on the board.
2 men in the backfield as Curran's going to get the handoff, and he is going to go nowhere with it. Seal white jerseys bringing him down, and getting the initial contact for Hoffman Estates was Adam Burks, the senior linebacker. Loss of 1 on that one to make it 2nd and 11. And again, we talk about the weather. Rain starting to pick up in intensity here. And for those wondering, though, watching, we are dry in the booth. Not that any of you were wondering, but I still had to say it anyway.
Well, the press box here at Barrington is
very nice and comfortable.
very large and comfortable.
As this run from Curran once again makes it 3rd and manageable. And a shout out to the great Barrington athletic staff. Got us a nice complimentary sandwich and beverage that we got at halftime before the rain hit. So I want to give them a wonderful shout out for having us here tonight.
That was a nice gesture on their part. I won't have to raid the refrigerator when I get home.
What if you want that late night, midnight snack, though? I may do that later, as Curran gets nowhere to go in front of him, and the Hawks defense looking like its old self here for 4th down, and a flag comes out late as Curran got taken down. I don't know what could they be calling a face mask. Let's see.
Could it be face mask or personal foul, perhaps? There were 3 or 4 Hoffman guys that were near the ball carrier there, and maybe somebody got a little over exuberant.
Neither side of the football with teams are moving, and they are going to get a personal foul against Hoffman. So just when you thought we were starting to see the tide turn for the Hoffman defense, they commit a penalty that you just can't commit when you're trying to make another comeback and try to repeat that magic you had against Palatine.
Yeah, penalties make a lot of difference in this game, that's for sure. And this one here was a big one.
So the ball now at the 50, and a new set of downs for the Broncos. And it's been just that kind of night for Hoffman Estates. Clock now will continue to wind under 4:40 now to play in this 3rd quarter, 31-7 Barrington.
Last year they recovered from Barrington winning big against them and still went very deep in the playoffs, all the way to the semifinals, after a big loss to Barrington at the 7th game, I believe.
As Curran gets the toss to the right side, Michael Curran for a 1st down.
Finding running room off tackle in this game quite a bit. They're not going right up the middle that much, but just a little outside, not sweeping way at the end. They're just finding a little running room there over and over again. The ends blocking in, and
As Fitzpatrick on the keep here will get ahead close to the Hawks 35-yard line for second down. And a steady rain now has seemed to take place here. Did see another little strike of lightning off in the distance, though.
I think this is the kind of game, if we had a lightning delay, we'd lose about 80% of our fans. You know, it's
something we
the score the way it is.
Yeah,
you know?
something we don't want to have happen, obviously, as Curran gets the handoff and gets to the 35 for a short gain to bring up third down.
You can keep the fans around if you've got a lot of football to play and you're tied 7-7 or 14-14, but when you've got a 31-7 score and you've got to go and stand in a hallway someplace, people decide, well, maybe we should head out for pizza or something.
They do have pizza here at the concession stands as well. Nope, I was just told they're out of pizza. So, okay, so have some hangry fans. Combination of being angry and hungry as Fitzpatrick rolls to his right, hit as he's thrown, pass falls short, incomplete. Took a hit as he threw it, brings up fourth down.
Fitzgerald seems to be playing with more authority, more determination, more savvy tonight. What a difference a week can make against Fremd there. The Barrington offense just appeared to be totally out of sync and put 0 points on the board. And
4th and 6 with the Barrington offense staying out there.
A whole lot better.
3 receivers left, or I should say 3 receivers right, I beg your pardon, 1 right. Curran goes up towards the line. And it looks like I think Fitzpatrick's going to drop back and he'll do the kick, and he does. As this one will fall into the end zone for a touchback. Good effort there from Fitzpatrick.
Couple of Barrington guys almost were able to down that at about the 1 or 2. So the rain continues here. It's a very steady, one of those steady, misty types of rainfall. And we're deep into the third quarter now, 31-7, and Hoffman starting with field position at the 20 here. As I said before, you get this far behind you, it's all the conservative strategies of just grinding out first downs are pretty much out of the playbook for the rest of the game, and they've got to see more games with Whitehead, or more plays with Whitehead open deep.
As Montgomery is going to get the handoff on this first down for the Hawks offense as they get back out there. He gets a gain of a couple for second down. Again, last time they were out there was a 34-yard touchdown to Malik Whitehead, who we talked about as one of the area's top receivers, if not all around the state for that matter. Ball now at the 22. We have under 2.5 to play in the third quarter as cars are starting to file out of here at Barrington, perhaps because of the weather.
Combination of weather and score. You've got a game that's lopsided and you've got a steady rainfall. It's leads to people doing something else.
As Lane gets the catch to the near side as he got out towards the 30. But I believe he's going to be just short of the first down, or are they going to give him the first? We'll have to see based on where he stepped out. And it looks like they will move the chains, and it was enough for a first down for Hoffman Estates. So a first down for the Hawks and Kyle Krogstad as we now approach 2 minutes to go in the third. 31-7 in favor of Barrington. They have one more home game after tonight, and that'll be the regular season finale hosting Palatine. Meanwhile, Hoffman Estates will go back home to take on Fremd next week, as that'll be their final home game. Then they head to Conan on the 19th to conclude the regular season. As on that run, that was Montgomery again. 2nd and 7 from the 33. And if you give Barrington the W here, they go to 4-3, 1-2 in conference, and Hoffman Estates gets their first conference loss, their first overall loss of the season, as Krogstad rolls to his right and the pass is overthrown incomplete. You know, we mentioned how when we got started for the season as a whole, that it was going to be wide open season here in the Mid-Suburban Conference, and with the way that this game is going, and if it holds up, things are going to get real interesting real quick in the final 2-week stretch of the season.
Yeah, it's a really tight conference this year, and that would suddenly Hoffman picks up a loss. And
as up the middle on this run is Max Locke for a lot on this first down and more into Broncos territory. Inside the 40-yard line he goes, and Max Locke with his best run of the night so far.
Conant and Fremd are playing tonight, and that game is certainly important. Those are two of the 2-0 teams in conference.
Approaching 1 minute to play in the third. As the rain continues to fall, pass is caught there to the freshman and Jashawn Johnson ahead of the 25. And it looks like they're going to say he stepped out of the bounds at about the 27. So he's about a yard short, maybe not. They're saying give him the first down. There's a gain of 10 to make it a new first down. 58 seconds on the clock in the third to go.
Barrington with a 4-man line.
2 receivers right, 2 guys in the backfield, 1 receiver left as Krogstad pump fake, steps up in the pocket, throws over the middle looking for Lane, but it's overthrown incomplete. That was Kozlowski in coverage for Barrington, and second down.
He had Lane pretty well covered there, and I think Krogstad just wanted to throw it deep there and perhaps create a jumping contest, but didn't want to throw it anywhere near the defender if he could. So here we go, second and 10 from the 27.
A high snap that Krogstad is able to corral, and the throw to the left side is incomplete. Barrington sideline wanting a flag for hold, but no call made. Third down.
This Barrington defense seems to be a little more mobile than most over the recent years. Got pretty good speed in that defensive line. Most of them are tall and rangy, and you've got Lucas Van Ness, number 90 out there.
So 3rd and 10, ball at the 27. You got 3 receivers left, 2 to the right. Krogstad all alone in the backfield, and let's imagine if Hoffman can score on this drive, this game can get interesting, but that's not going to happen with this play as Luke Goodwin chases down Krogstad for the big sack and a 4th and long for the Hawks.
Goodwin, 61. I think he missed a few games with injury, according to conversation I had a while ago, and so he's back and obviously pretty healthy. Made a nice sack on that last play.
Under 10 seconds to go in the third.
4th and 20.
And Hoffman's going to go for it. They hand it off to Max Locke. He had a nice run for a first down earlier on this drive, and he's going to be pretty darn close, and I think he may have got it. And he, on a 4th and 20, they run the ball, and that is pretty close, but we do have an injured Bronco, I believe, down on the field, or what do we have here? The clock is at zeros across the board, so that is the end of the third quarter, nevertheless. So it is now 31-7 through 3 quarters of action, but now the question is, did he get enough for that first down? And we haven't seen the officials make a mark on it yet. And I think he looked like the initial spot, John, was that he got it.
Game suspended. We got to clear the press.
Oh.
And Unfortunately, as the third quarter comes to an end, we have a weather delay here at Barrington. Yeah, we were so close. We started kickoff at 6 o'clock. We should have had it at 5 o'clock, but nevertheless, weather delay here at Barrington High School. 31-7 our score as we hope to begin the fourth quarter sooner rather than later. Take a short time out and come right back for Week 7 action of our HGTV Game of the Week. Well, folks, unfortunately here from Barrington High School tonight, alongside John Anderson, I'm Ryan Fay. They have postponed tonight's game due to weather in the area until tomorrow. We will be sure to give you an update on this score as it resumes through the progress of tomorrow. Currently, right now, before they begin and catch up with tomorrow, Barrington currently has a 31-7 lead over the Hoffman Estates Hawks. They have to play the fourth quarter in its entirety, as the end of the third quarter is when the weather delay had been called. And be sure to make sure you check out the local listings for our future IHSA football games we'll be covering for you here on HETV. So for John Anderson, I'm Ryan Fay, and for the great work behind the scenes courtesy of Bruce Anderson, I'm Ryan Fay once again signing off here on our HETV Game of the Week.
The game was canceled going into the fourth quarter due to severe weather and resumed on Saturday, with Barrington going on to score 2 more touchdowns and the Hoffman Estates won. The final score, Barrington 41, Hoffman Estates 15.